I can't believe this amount of trash from my own move.
Kilowatt hour wise, it's going to balance out to at least 0 or be a negative number.
If there's a different way, I want to try to figure it out. Hi, welcome to Save My Planet. I'm Stephen Brooks, here in beautiful Costa Rica, a country setting the standard for green living. In fact, by the year 2021, Costa Rica hopes to become the first carbon-neutral country in the world. And we're putting those principles into action right here in Punta, the Center for Sustainable Living and Education. We'll talk about that later. First, let's turn our attention to something a little closer to home. It's an activity that everyone has to do sometime, and it usually produces huge amounts of aggravation and waste: moving. But we found a guy in Southern California who's trying to change all that and make moving a little bit easier and a lot more green.
My name is Spencer Brown. I am the owner and founder of Rent a Green Box, and I have reinvented the cardboard moving box from recycled plastic trash. About 5 years ago, I packed and moved my own home office, and I spent $800 in material. And I used it for 3 days, tried to give it away after it was done. Most of the stuff people didn't want, it just wasn't usable. So I piled it in my car and took it to a landfill. While I was there, I saw like 40-foot piles of cardboard boxes. And I was like, I can't believe this amount of trash from my own move. In that moment, I saw a bunch of bleach bottles piled in the corner, and I thought, why don't we just take that plastic trash and reinvent a better way to pack and move in America? 9 months later, I came up with the first RecoPack.
RecoPack. That stands for Recycled Ecological Packing Solution. There will be a test on that later.
It's a solution to this huge problem that we've had where for 200 years people thought, well, when you move, you just buy a cardboard box. This is made from 100% recycled plastic trash. It's still super light.
We have two types of customer. Our first customer is the green customer, who wants to use our boxes because they are friendly to the environment. They don't use cardboard, they don't end up in the landfill as dead space. Our second customer is the customer that wants to be efficient. They want to save money. Our boxes stack, they move easy, there's no tape, no building required. We rent them out for 2 weeks rather than having to go buy them and end up throwing them away in landfills.
I started this company 5 years ago, and before I rented my first box, rather than building a blueprint, I actually designed a green print, and I made a commitment to doing everything I could to introduce green into my company. And so everything you see here is based on a green philosophy.
Spencer even found a way to power his trucks using green fuel. You'll never guess what he's putting into his tanks.
This is basically 150 gallons of waste vegetable oil, and we power our entire fleet with biofuel and waste veggie oil. The benefit is that we reduce about 80% of carbon dioxide emission, and it saves us about 50% on our fuel cost per year. Adds up to about $500,000 a year running on alternative fuels. You know, the number one oil that comes out of here is In-N-Out hamburgers, and that's when we drive around, it smells like French fry cooker. And the only problem is, you know, you're always hungry. A lot of our customers are using this material, which is styrofoam packing peanuts. This is absolutely the worst item you can ever pack with in America. What happens is that they're so light that they blow away, and they're easy to break, and then birds and small animals think that this is food. And so what happens is that when they eat these little pieces, it's like poison for them and they die. So what we've come up with is a product that we make right in our warehouse. It's called Expandos, and I'll show you how it's done. Now this is the replacement to styrofoam packing peanuts. It's made from 100% recycled cereal boxes. And what's great is we mill it right here. People pack, move, and give it back to us. We love this stuff. My idea is so simple, it's painful. I take plastic trash, I reinvented the cardboard box, and I rent my box. It wears out, I grind it up, I make another box. It's cradle to cradle, zero waste.
That's great, Spencer. But what about for people that can't find a green mover in their area? Any advice for them?
The number one thing you need to do is don't throw anything away. Organize what you don't need and give it away donate it to Salvation Army, Goodwill, or find a local charity group in your area that can still reuse the things that you don't think have value, but actually they do. Having kids, I want them to see myself as somebody who's championing a cause that I believe in. You have to provide a good or a service or unique experience to a customer for profit, and that's never going to change. The new model is you have to do all of those things without trashing the planet.
Green businesses are sprouting up all over, giving us more and more eco-friendly alternatives. From moving to the roof over our head. When we come back, we're going to check out a net zero energy home. It actually makes more electricity than it uses. If you're planning a big move, only take what you need, but think twice before you start throwing things away. Books can be given to libraries or schools, and old computers and other electronics can be taken to a refurbisher or recycler, where they can be donated to charities and kept out of the landfills. With a lighter load on moving day, you'll also save on packing supplies and fuel.
At the crossroads of an entire hemisphere is a land where the forces of nature have converged to create amazing new life forms and brilliant new ways of living. A land of astounding natural beauty and innovative people who are reshaping their lives with 21st century technology and a commitment to transform the future. Beauty beyond description, vision beyond expectation. Costa Rica, no artificial ingredients.
Hi, welcome back to Save My Planet. People say that living green starts at home. Well, Michael Yannel, he took that idea and ran with it. With the help of an architect who specializes in sustainable design, he created a super efficient, single-family home that generates all the energy it needs, and then some. Let's go check it out.
I knew I was ready to build a house of my own. I knew I wanted it to be a green home, and I knew that I wanted to use alternative energy to power it. So I went to Farr Associates, who only do sustainable architecture.
He came in and said, I want to do something in Chicago that's never been done before. I want to do the first zero-net energy house.
That means that the house actually makes more energy than it uses.
It was a dream for us come true. We had produced buildings which were close to producing a lot of their energy, but had never done zero net.
We have built into our energy equation a model that was created by our engineers.
The roof, for example, is not only a shading device, so that by extending to the outside, it actually perfectly shades the interior. As the light in the summertime comes in, it bounces off the front wing of the butterfly and actually increases the productivity of the solar collectors.
This house produces energy through 48 solar panels. That's a 10 kilowatt system. There are two different types of panels. There's a solar electric panel, and then there's a solar thermal water heating panel. So this will heat up to 240 gallons of hot water to a temperature of 180 degrees. These tanks are double insulated, so they only lose a half a degree per hour, or 12 degrees per day. These boxes display things like how much energy has been produced since the system was commissioned and how many pounds of CO2 have been saved. Whenever I'm producing excess energy, excess electricity that the home's not using, it flows directly through a net meter, which runs backwards to Commonwealth Edison, and I'm credited for every kilowatt hour that I send back to them. I do still get utility bills, but over 1 year, kilowatt hour wise, it's going to balance out to at least zero or be a negative number for me. I also have the first residential gray water system in the city of Chicago. The laundry washer, its wastewater is sent down to the basement. The process basically is the wastewater comes down and goes through a lint filter. It is then treated with chlorine tablets, and then it is kept in the storage tank until a toilet is flushed. At that time, a pump will kick on and pull this water through a 5-micron filter, a 1-micron filter, and then an ultraviolet light filter before it goes up to flush the toilets in the home, which are dual flush, incidentally.
To help save water, a dual flush toilet actually has two mechanisms, one for the small flushes and the other for the bigger jobs.
And then the third thing with a butterfly roof is it actually provides a collection for stormwater. We take it down through pipes in the back and we store part of it in a cistern, which is then used for watering of all the landscaping.
Part of the reason that I built the home was I felt like the higher-end custom home builders kept building larger and larger homes and were being built without any regard for the environment.
For roughly the same amount of money as a McMansion, you can do a beautiful, sustainable, zero net energy home and it will work.
So I kind of wanted to make a statement with this home to say you can have this beautiful home that was built green that produces all of its own energy and have people say, wow, that's so cool, I want to do the same thing. In fact, you can, and it can be very productive as well.
By using innovative, eco-friendly systems, Michael was able to shrink the carbon footprint of his home way down. And that's great, but what's it actually like to live in a house like that? We'll see that next. Welcome back to Save My Planet. Here in Costa Rica, living green is nothing new. You see it just about everywhere, from sustainable farms to green hotels. But in the US, this trend is just getting started. Michael Yannel built the first private residence in America to be awarded LEED Platinum certification. That means it meets the highest standards of sustainability in both design and construction. Michael's home uses geothermal heat, solar energy, and it even has its own great water system. What's it like to actually live in a house like this? Let's go on inside and find out.
Hey, welcome to the greenest house in America. Let's take a look at the inside. The floors throughout the whole house are concrete with radiant tubing through them.
The floor is warm. The heat pumps that we use that in connection with the geothermal are giving energy to the floor. It's very quiet.
You can see we have one of the two green roofs of the home is right off the living room here. And the object of this green roof is actually to prevent the driveway that goes down to the garage under this room from being the first thing that jumps out at your eyes when you look at the backyard.
This home is about 2,650 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom home with 2 baths. It has the typical amenities you would have in any home. Everything faces south, full of natural light.
Behind me, this is a recycled concrete aggregate block, and that's part of the passive solar heating for the home. So the sun is streaming its energy into the home during the day, and then this concrete is absorbing that heat so that at nighttime when the temperatures start to fall off, the heat is just going to radiate back out of the wall. Coming into the dining room and kitchen of the home, all of the furniture that's used in the house is green furniture. Anything that has a steel content to it has recycled content in the steel. And all fabrics are made with eco-friendly dyes, no volatile organic compounds. In the kitchen, this countertop is actually made from recycled newspaper, and a lot of people go, wow. It's a newspaper that's shredded and put into a slurry, and then a resin is added to it to make a hard surface. So it's much nicer than having something granite that might be off-gassing radon into your home. The appliances far and above exceeded the minimum requirements for Energy Star. And if they were a water-consuming appliance like the dishwasher or the clothes washer, I made sure that they were also water-efficient appliances. Looks like I'm producing about 250% of what our model was.
The way we looked at this project is we first built a very efficient envelope.
The house is split into 2 wings, so tons of natural light can stream in. That cuts back on the energy-consuming artificial light.
The house is always filled with natural light, and I don't have to turn on the artificial lights.
Overall, the lighting that's in the home is fluorescent lighting. Anywhere you see a television in the home and the electronics that may be associated with it, there'll be a kill switch for the outlets that all of these items are plugged into. The reason for that is that these items can draw up to 1 watt per hour in their off mode. That's called a phantom power draw. On the second floor of the house, instead of using traditional zero VOC paints, we actually used a clay-based paint product that is also zero VOC.
VOC stands for volatile organic compounds. You know that strong smell that paint gives off? Yeah, that's the one. Zero VOC paint. It's way safer, and it's definitely more environmentally friendly.
On this whole wing of the home, which includes the bedrooms, The flooring is an engineered walnut product, and this is made by a company that takes scrap wood and then laminates it 3 layers worth into engineered flooring. So all 3 layers of this wood is basically scrap wood that would have wound up in a landfill. We're in the first floor guest bathroom of the home. This vanity top is made from recycled glass and concrete. All of the plumbing fixtures, including the shower heads, are low flow restricted flow. The toilets are dual flush, with even the full flush being only 1.6 gallons. Then in every bathroom there's an occupancy sensor for the exhaust fan, so that when you enter the bathroom the exhaust fan will automatically turn on. This foyer connects the 2 sections of the home, and at either end there's a pocket door, so that on the hottest days of the summer and the coldest days of the winter, we can shut both of the doors and you don't have to spend energy heating and cooling an area that you just walk through and never spend any time in.
Although the house is only 2,650 square feet, the footprint feels bigger. And the reason it feels bigger is because it always is in view of the natural environment. Architects are in an interesting situation. We create environments for other people. And there are some times I create them and I think these are wonderful, it's perfect for them. And there are other times I create them and I think I wish I could live here.
The biggest thing is, number one, just knowing that I'm doing something really good for the environment just by where I live. It's fantastic.
Now that's dedication to green living. By using eco-friendly products and energy-efficient design, Michael is living large without leaving the large carbon footprint. And that's what's going on here too in Costa Rica. We'll be back in a moment to tell you about Punta, an off-the-grid, sustainable living community that practices what it preaches. Looking for a fast and effective way to keep your energy consumption down? Just unplug it. Many electronic devices, from cell phone chargers to TVs to computers, draw power even when they're not in use. It's called phantom power drainage, and it's a cinch to stop. Use a power strip that can take several devices off the grid with just one switch, or simply unplug those electronics whenever they're not being used. Welcome back to Save My Planet. Here we are at Punta on the southern Caribbean coast of Costa Rica. It's a center for sustainable living and education, founded in 1995 as a way to raise awareness about environmental issues. Here people study sustainability, grow over 150 varieties of organic fruits and vegetables, and live completely off the grid. Punta gives visitors a chance to experience, up close and personal, that living a green life isn't as hard as it seems. Let's go take a look. Right around that point, land of freedom. When I was 20 years old, I came face to face with the reality of conventional agriculture and just the effect that it was having on the land, on the ecosystems, on the people that worked there. And I started to realize, wait a minute, if there's a different way, I want to try to figure it out. I learned a word, it was a philosophy called permaculture. And what permaculture really tries to instill in us is a sense of our role in really protecting and nurturing our resources.
We have people from Europe, we have people from the States, we have a lot of people from Costa Rica that come and they learn about all the aspects of the farm.
A work trade internship on a farm was really the way to do it because you get to just completely submerge yourself.
This farm is located off the grid, meaning there's no road to get here. There's not electricity coming from the city.
Power has been always an important aspect of living off the grid, and the only alternative we found in this area was to use solar panels.
And today, like a really great sunny day, a lot of the people here will be on their computers, on their internet, but on days where it's cloudy and we don't have sun, you don't have that luxury.
In this case, we have to be very careful with the showers because the showers are a big way to consume water.
We use rainwater here. Once it's gone, it's gone. Then we have to use a pump and waste battery, and it's a whole process.
Here we have a system that warms up the water with the sun.
You can have, piping hot showers that are so beautiful and abundant with good pressure, and also do it really sustainable while conserving water.
There's just so much to see and learn.
You'll actually get to eat probably some of the things you plant, which is really rewarding. When you see a typical garden, like English enclosure, you think of hedges and rows of flowers and then just dirt around them. Permaculture kind of teaches you that sometimes it doesn't need to all look really neat.
In permaculture, we plant things all together, and you know, in the forest, you have all these different levels. You have ground covers, and vines, and middle story trees, and higher story trees. Nice score! We designed this place to make all of those plants useful. The diversity is just incredible. I mean, here you have a winged bean. Incredible bean. Growing right up a Rollinia tree, which is a cherimoya relative. You got turmeric growing here at the base of it, which is it's the main spice in curry. Time for breakfast. So most of this food we grew right here in Punta Mona. It's so incredible to be able to enjoy a meal with food that came from right around where you're sleeping. And these foods also taste a lot better. They actually ripen on the trees. A lot of times when things come from far away, they need to pick them green and let them ripen off of the trees. Here, we could pick something ripe, and in 5 minutes later, it's being served in the kitchen. I love that.
People, they come here and the first time, maybe the water system, the electricity, we can do what we do at home, but when they leave, they understood, and they take it home.
Punta Mona is just one small example of what people are doing to live more sustainably. It's all about the choices you make. But once you're committed, you'll see it's not that hard to find fun, creative, and meaningful ways to help save the planet. I'm Stephen Brooks. See you next time.